The world is falling apart right in front of our very eyes. You feel it, right? You just can't quite sometimes say it out loud, or put it out there like that. But deep down, you got the feeling, right? You feel it. Maybe not so much in a drastic, tragic way in terms of, the world is ending. Although we can never throw that proposition too far away. Since the 1960s, we never know when, the nukes might be falling down at any minute. There's always been that threat since the 1960s. But perhaps more so, or not perhaps, definitely more so, in the world as we know it is falling apart. The systems that we've been depending on for decades, the systems which our parents and grandparents grew up on, and that's why there's so much divide. Maybe not divide, but sometimes tension and misunderstanding between generations, because the world, just our parents, not even our grandparents, our parents 20, 30 years ago, maybe 40 for some, the life our parents grew up on is completely different than the one we are facing today. I mean, just look at social media. Social media is just about, let's say, 2008 when Facebook first came out. So it's 15 years in to its revolution of the world. And it has, like nothing else, revolutionized the world so quickly. If you have a smartphone, there's a 95% chance that you're a slave to social media. Me, in my own way, I admit I am one too. Although I'm conscious, I have grown conscious over the years of how I use it. And I would urge you to be mindful and conscious of that as well. But yeah, the world is falling apart and the signs are out there. You just need to wake up. And if you come across this video, chances are this video came through to you through the algorithm, and it's maybe a video suggestion based on stuff you usually watch. So you probably are already in your waking up phase. You've already woken up. Or maybe this is the video you just need. Maybe my channel going forward, we'll see how active it gets, how active it remains, might be, that spur that you need to awaken within. Because as you grow older and you go through an awakening, spiritual awakening, if you want to call it that, you start to realize more and more that it's really about you and what you can control. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of spiritualist new age gurus out there that sell you this thought domain that you are a god, you and you alone are God and the creator of your destiny 100%. And that is simply just not true to me. Not in my experience, not in how I've studied the world. That's just hocus pocus. That can't be true at all. Because there's actually so much of life out of our hands, out of our control, so much forces that constantly operate outside of our mental faculties and our daily actions. But of course, there is truth to you also being a co-creator, and once you awaken, you do realize that a lot of your mental space, the first thing you realize is your energy is your biggest resource. That's what you realize. The outside world, the external world, becomes more and more fake and less real to you the more you progress in your spiritual journey, your awakening journey. And things such as money, which you might have once deemed important, become a whole lot less important. And you realize it for what it is, just a piece of paper which we have collectively as a society decided to place value into it and create markets around it so that we become entrapped to a ever continuous cycle of chasing money, of glorifying money, of limiting so many of our behaviors, structuring our lives around money. Because, and this is where the outside forces come in again, it's true, money is important. Money is a guiding force in our daily lives, and you can't escape that unless you want to completely abandon society and go live in the woods or go live in the streets and live off begging from people. Still, in that way, you are still a victim, a subject to money, because you need that money to go buy food for yourself, unless you completely want to become an outlaw and, rob and steal. But then the likelihood of you not lasting that long becomes very, amplified. You might get, killed. You might get locked up or something like that. So money as a guiding force, as a grapple hold over our world, definitely it still has a huge impact in our life. And it has so much for the past. Exchange and trade has always been, since I don't have my history book in front of me now, so I can't go way back. But exchange and trade, especially since the Industrial Revolution, has been a big part of civilization and community and society. But money is money in and of itself, for the past 50, 60, 70, 80 years has been such a huge thing. Wall Street, economies, markets, corporations, they run us, they rule us. And these are the things you awaken to on an external level, how all of that enslaves you. But then you go further through your spiritual journey, and then the more you start to realize that, what about all of this feeling inside of me? My feelings, my beingness, what I am, my motivations, my drive, my internal instincts, not internal, not maternal, my internal instincts. The deepest guiding drives and forces in my being. Is it really all about money? Does it really have to be a slave about money and a slave to money? And of course it's not. You start to realize that your number one resource in life is energy and how you use it. Energy and attention, where you put your attention. And that's when you start to realize how much of a co-creator you are in this journey, which is life. And the more you practice it, because remember, when you first awaken, it'll still be raw, it'll still be untrained, just like any muscle. It takes a while for you to expand it, for you to increase its capabilities. But the further you progress, the more and more you realize that you do have a big role in how you create your everyday experience. The outside forces will always be there, but the more you tap in to your inner world, the more sanctity you will create for yourself. Your inner self will be your sanctum. And the outside forces will begin to affect you less and less. And this is where the process of healing starts. The process of getting to know the real you. The process of finding it harder and harder to connect with people who operate under the external domains of life. People that are still so focused on the rat race. People that are still so focused on their pride, on how much money they make, on how much houses they can own, on how much cars they can buy. Just playing the game of life. And the game is the game. The game has to be played by us all on some form of level. That's why a lot of spiritual gurus, spiritual leaders online, they sell their books, they sell their podcasts, they monetize their channels, they get seduced into clickbait material. The game is the game, It's still there. We still have to operate within it, function under it. But as I said, there will also be this inner world. And the more you grow into your spiritual journey, you realize this inner world is where it's at. It's where you feel most peaceful. It's where you make the most change within yourself, but also through the people that you touch and interact with. And when I say touch, I don't mean physically touch, but just touch on a spiritual, energetic level on a daily basis. This is where you make your biggest change. And trust me, you will rub people the wrong way. You will get funny looks. You will energetically upset so many people. But you're on the right path. And trust me, you will feel lonely. You will struggle. There will be dark times. You will go through hermit phases. You will go through isolation phases. Especially if you are in a place, in a community, in an area where, that still operate a lot under older spiritualist religious domains, like old forms of religion, your stereotypical Christian religions, or maybe Islam, or wherever you are, they still operate under those paradigms. Most people still operate under those paradigms. Or, the paradigms of consumerism and capitalism, which is everywhere, mostly throughout the Western world, basically everywhere all over the world. So most people still operate under those domains, and it becomes difficult for them to awaken and to free themselves from those domains. And that's the reason, if you live in such a society, the chances of you feeling lonely, being ostracized, just naturally, will be very high. But you got to stick it through. And you gotta trust in the process. You gotta trust your journey, because you can't go back. You've seen the light. The old you is not an option anymore. It's fake. It's feeble. You can't operate under those domains, the domains of the external world. You can't operate under those domains anymore, because you've seen it. You felt it so deeply within you that it has just completely obliterated your old reality. You can't live inside of those domains anymore. You can't embrace those domains anymore in a stupid way, in a low vibrational way, in a way that, doesn't take a lot of self-awareness. Because you've done the work, you have increased your level of self-awareness. There's no fit anymore. You've outgrown that. You've gone through metamorphosis. You're a new you. You're still in that process, and it's still going on. Sometimes it's so hard. Trust me, I know. Sometimes it's so hard. But this is the path. And you have to trust it. And you have to take it day by day. Every day is a challenge. I know. Once you become aware that energy is your main resource, every day is psychological warfare. Every day is spiritual warfare. The demons will come. The demonic forces, the low vibrational forces. They'll come and they'll try to take away from you. But now it's your task as a spiritual warrior to become more aware of those low vibrational forces when they get sent your way. And it takes practice, it takes time for everyone. Everyone is on their own path. But it's your mission to become better at discerning what you invite into your own life. You have to start drawing your boundaries. This is the thing that I love the most out of new age psychology, pop psychology. They tend to talk a lot about healing, trauma, boundaries, and those are all relevant things, definitely. But I feel like sometimes they tend to miss the beat, the truth behind a lot of things when they talk about healing, trauma. It can become very vain sometimes as well, very, like narcissist versus empath. We're all narcissists and empaths in our own ways. We all have those spectrums within us, those capabilities within us. Sometimes it becomes this, divisional thing. But we need to know it's all about unity. It's moving back to unity. But the thing I love the most about pop psychology, modern day psychology, is this thing of boundaries. There they have it right. You have to be very discerning, very analytical about who you let into your life and the boundaries that you draw. You can still be friendly towards people that come with low vibrational energy. You can still have an impact on your life, but you need to know where to draw the line. You need to know where to place the boundaries so that they do not take away from you and your journey and your growing process. So, discernment every day is a challenge. That's what it comes down to. Do not plan ahead so much. Do not worry about planning ahead so much. That's one thing I've learned. Because the world is falling apart, our systems are falling apart. Monetary systems. Just look at the state of America. It used to be a world power. It's falling apart. It's not what it is anymore. The BRICS coalition is just a byproduct of that. Russia stepping up interest in becoming a bigger force in the world. China stepping up interest in becoming a bigger force in the world. The BRICS foundations have been laid for the past 10, 15, 20 years. They could see it coming. America has become too postmodernism, and I'm a postmodernist. I do think I am one myself, but postmodernism and hyperreality has become so rife that it has become a rot in American culture. It is eating American culture down to what it is today, left wing, right wing, racism, gun violence, media, narratives, psychological operations. It's every day. It's the information warfare, the internet, the signals we get through our phones every day, the things we read, psychological warfare. This impacts you. Do not brush it off lightly. These things impact you. But this is where you come in, where you as a person, every second of the day, take it day by day, every second of the day, it's like a chess match. You will have to make a move. You will have to through this spiritual journey. That's just how it is. You will be compelled into it. Unless, as I said, maybe you want to go live in the woods, away from society. But then you will have to face the more forces of nature, which you haven't throughout for most of your life. You'll have to face the threats of maybe wild animals if you live in such an area, or definitely snakes and insects, or bugs, which you could get diseases from, and obviously hunger and loneliness and social isolation. So those are the things you will face. You still live in this construct if you want to go live in the woods. But in society, it's on at the moment. It's spiritual warfare on another level. Take it easy on yourself. Don't plan far ahead. Sometimes I struggle to plan for tomorrow. I mean, maybe at least you can try and also plan for tomorrow. I do, sometimes I struggle, but I do. But most importantly, just plan for today. Take it day by day. Say your graces, say your thanks throughout the day, whenever you wake up in the morning, to whoever you talk to in a, God, universe type of way. I know some of us are different, but it's all really the same thing at the end, that spiritual yearning, that asking for guidance from something higher than you, for something that you feel is more intrinsic within you, that's guiding you, that gut instinct. That's what I always like to tell it. It's the gut instinct. Trust your gut. You will have to make so many decisions throughout your day. It's like a chess match. And sometimes you will lose, sometimes you will fall, but you're still in the match. As long as you're alive, you're still in the match. Sometimes you will have bad days. Sometimes you will lose so badly. So badly. But you have to make the move. And the losses are a part of the process. The losses are a part of how you are making change. And of course, so are the wins when they eventually come. The small winning moves, doesn't have to be huge winning moves, the small ones, even they count for a lot. But you will have to make a move throughout your day, many moves sometimes throughout your day. You will be called into action. You have to. And these little moves, they matter. They matter. Become aware of it.